This is the number one thing you need to understand when it comes to business credit. All right. So here it is, guys. The foundation of 0% business credit is 100% built on how great your personal credit is. All right. So let me explain. So whenever you are able to qualify for 0% business credit, the reason these banks are able to give you 0% and give you sizable limits on the business is simply because they're checking the stewardship and how you've maintained your personal credit. So, for example, if you have a personal credit profile that has negatives, late payments, charge-offs, collections, all right, bankruptcies, repossessions, any of those things, it's going to show the banks on the business side that, hey, this person is not a great steward of their credit. So this is why we want to make sure you don't have any of that before you come through this program. All right. So that's the first thing. Second thing, they also want to make sure you don't have crazy utilization. All right. By being a part of this program, we can help you solve that. Okay. Utilization is not an issue for us. All right. Because we have ways for you to fix that. But at the end of the day, it's a representation. If you have 90% or even over 30% of your cards maxed out, well, now what this shows the banks is that if we give this person more funding, well, we're going to be the last bill that they pay because they got a whole bunch of other people in front of the line, right? So you want to make sure that your utilization is generally under 10%, in my personal opinion. All right. Some people say 30%, some people say 20. We always get people as close to 0% as possible on the utilization, and that's how we get them killer limits and killer interest rates, right? So the third and final thing is hard inquiries. If you are a person who've applied at all these different places and you don't know how to remove your hard inquiries, that is the last and final thing you need to be in something that we call the funding window. All right. So no negatives. You want to make sure that you have little to no utilization, and then 3 or less hard inquiries. All right. As a part of my program, we have the ability to help you remove these hard inquiries in as little as 24 hours, and at the longest time, it's going to be about 2 weeks. All right. So that's the funding window. Once you're in the funding window, it doesn't matter what credit card offer that you have, right? You generally can go ahead and get access to it as long as you understand how to fill out your applications properly, because banks have their own underwriting and lending criteria. And not only that, they also check your debt to income ratio, or DTI for short. All right. So we have ways of fixing your DTI as well. So as part of the program, it's important for you guys to understand this is a formula. This is a formula for the banks to be able to consider you a great steward of the money that they are going to lend to you at a low interest rate. They want to fund you, but put the money in your business. I'm going to repeat that. These banks want to fund you, but they need the entity, the business, to put the money into to justify the 0% as well as the high limits. Okay. Another thing, if you have high limits on your credit cards, on your personal credit cards, you have 10, 20, $30,000 personal credit cards, generally it's not going to be hard for you to get higher limits on your business credit cards. All right. On the personal, if you have $500 limit, $200 limit, $100 limit, it's going to be very tough for banks to trust you on the business side. So for people in that category, sometimes we have to, make sure that we grow their personal credit, maybe increase their limits, maybe apply at bigger banks. Because if you have lenders on your personal credit that are very high risk lenders, like Credit One Bank, Mercury Lending, all right, first one, or one first, Credit One or something like that's what it's called, Credit One, right? Those types of lending products, or loan products or credit cards, those are high risk credit cards. So if you have that on your credit profile, it shows that you once had challenging credit, and that's just not, those aren't products you want. So you want to outweigh those products by getting access to credit cards from bigger banks like Chase, Bank of America, the big boys, right? Wells Fargo, Citi. All right, we call them tier A or tier one banks, right? So that's the main thing, guys. If you can understand how to get in the funding window, no negatives, little to no utilization, 3 or less hard inquiries, and then have your DTI right, all right, there's not an inch of funding. There's not any funding that you can't get access to. All right, so understand, guys, the foundation of 0% business credit is all built on your personal credit. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.